From Go-Work 591 in beautiful downtown Jesup, Iowa, surrounded by a crowd of 10,000 people. Thanks for coming, you guys.
Yeah.
This is the birthplace of the Bohemian Resistance. We are the agitators, and we are the Bohemian Underground with producer Blake Tempus and co-host Dale Rueber. I am Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for October 13th, 2025. Somebody asked me, are you guys still doing the Jesup News? And I said it's more arts and culture than it is news.
Yeah, though we do some news.
We do, we do.
If anybody has any news, we'd love to report it.
Yeah. We're sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. The Pharaohs are kind sponsors of this podcast. Include them at your wedding, graduation, or festival plans. Don't wait, their schedule's filling up for 2026.
Whoa.
They are sponsoring a traveling art show for the Steve Brown Arts Center. Thanks to them for including us in that traveling show. Another sponsor who's been with us since the birth of the SBAC is Derek's Repair, located in Jesup, Iowa. Contact Derek Marty for your car repair needs. I know Derek listens. We're talking to you, Derek.
Yeah. My friends in Lake City, they are still listening. And, they got a chuckle out of the last podcast. I'm trying to think, what did they find so funny? But apparently it was amusing to them. So
that's good.
They reported. So
I'm glad they're listening. Also, check out the podcast, What Is Up with Our Friend Bubba Seaman. Bubba's always been so kind. I was listening, Dale, to a podcast, and it reminded me on that podcast that you should treat your podcast like you're talking to one person. Look, as we present this, we're talking to you, Katie, or you, Paul. Or,
sometimes I think we are just talking to one person. Every now and then.
Also, so here's the news for the upcoming week. Excuse me. Actually, we have multiple news for the upcoming week, but Dale, let's start with you and Jesup stuff.
Okay, well, the school, this is a busy sports time,
right,
as they wind down. And on the 14th, high school volleyball is at Jesup here, and it's against Gladbrook Rhinebeck, and they have the ninth graders at 5:30 and the varsities at 7:30 for the match. And so Gladbrook Rhinebeck, they always have good sports teams. It seems like they do really well. On the 16th, the cross country conference tournament is at Olwine, and I imagine that's at like 4:30. I didn't see a time on that, but Jesup's got a real good team. And Olwine's got a good team, I know. And in fact, I think some of the top runners in the whole state are in the Cedar Valley or Cedar Wapsie conference that we have this year. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's over at Olwine. And on the 17th, football versus Hudson. Hudson being undefeated Union last week.
Well,
and Jesup defeated Appleton Parkersburg.
It is so football's so unexplainable to me because AP beat Dyke 7-0, I believe, and we lost to Dyke 51-0.
Yeah.
And we beat AP, what was it, 20
to 19.
It's just baffling.
Yeah. We had this little girl, this the place kicker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she kicked 2 extra points. She missed one, but she kicked 2 extra points, and that was the difference in the game for Jesup, is one of those extra points.
Who is that girl?
Her name is Haley. I asked that question. She's a sophomore. Her name is Haley, and they told me the last name, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember it. It's not a Jesup name that I recall ever. But I guess she's a soccer player. And the first game I went to, she was right in front of us. She had that little net where they practice, they keep their leg warm kicking. Yeah. Well, she kicked the whole game, in that net, and never did get a chance to get on the field because the kids didn't score.
Right.
And I thought, well, she wore her little leg out. But this time she wasn't practicing so much, but she got to get in actually, and looked pretty good on 2 of them. And the one that they said she missed, I thought it looked good to me. So I don't know what the problem was. But it was kind of interesting game because Jesup got the ball twice inside AP's 20-yard line or 25-yard line because the kid, the punter for AP, he could kick it up an elevator shaft. I mean, it went straight up and came straight down.
Oh, wow.
And so Jesup got the ball real close to that 2 real short touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that was the difference in the game. And AP had this big quarterback, and he could run really fast, and he made 3 really long runs for them, and that was their 3 touchdowns. And so, but they missed an extra point also. And then it was 20-19, and the guy went for 2 to win the game with just under a minute, I think, and didn't make it. And so they lost. I really assumed that he would go for the tie.
Right.
But I don't think he trusted his kickers because the punter really, those 2 kicks really put them in a bad spot, So anyway. So that'd be kind of exciting. Maybe Hudson and Jesup could be a good game. So because my son lives in Hudson, and he was saying if they win one more out of the 2 they've left, they could be like the conference champions in that little section. So and they started out like 0-2, not looking very good at all. So
do they? Is that at Hudson or at
no, it's
Jesup?
at Jesup.
Oh, it's too bad I have to work that night.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to be gone. So, but okay. And then the 20th is the volleyball regional tournament start, and that's all that's to be announced. Who they're playing and where they're playing and this sort of thing. Got some library news. A lot of this is the same. The exercise group meets 8 a.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And the tech help, they say, is available on, it used to be on Tuesdays, now it's on Monday at 9 a.m. And they're having Crafter Noon Fun at 2 p.m. on the 13th. And so you can come in and do some crafts kinds of things. They're doing a lot of pumpkin decorating almost every afternoon at 3 o'clock. From the 14th through Friday, Tuesday through Friday, then again on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You can come in there and decorate a pumpkin. And I was going to get this called, on the 15th, they're having an International Dinner Club, Moldova. And say, I don't know what, and I was going to go down there, and I didn't get to that because we went over to that program in Independence. And then at 5 p.m. was a Discover Moldova, Moldova, with Zena. And so call the library and find out what that's all about.
Is that Monday or Tuesday?
It's Wednesday, the 15th.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're doing the podcast. We ought to do the podcast from Moldova over there.
Okay, and what is Moldova?
Moldova is a country.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of pumpkin decorating. And so got a little election news that's coming up in November. And so I called Coley, and here's the latest scoop is that Chris Even and what's Mr. Masteller's first name? James Masteller are both running for mayor, and it's Coley's understanding that Masteller has about 3 years left on the school board, but that if he wins the mayor's job, then he was going to resign from the school board. And if he doesn't win, he was going to stay with the school board, is what they're thinking. And so there'd be a contest for mayor. Maybe 2 years ago, or close to 2 years ago, a council person had to leave. They were leaving town. And so they appointed Cindy Gossi to that term. And then it's halfway through, and so there's 2 years left on that opening.
Okay.
So she's running for those 2 years. So it's a 2-year term. And then Denny Bell is running for the 4-year. There's a 4-year seat, and he's running for that. And then we need a third one, and Todd Rolfson is not. And so will be a write-in vote. And then Craig Wright and the other person, their terms are still have a couple years to go, so they're not up for re-election.
Okay.
So there's 3 seats available, and one is a write-in. And so he asked me if I wanted him to start pushing my name or anything. And I said, we already got enough old white guys messing up the world. We don't need one more. So that's pretty much the Jesup news that I have. And one other thing later on we can do. So
all right. Well, let's look at some national news, Dale. The government is still shut down. What are we in, day 7?
This may be 9, isn't it? Or
is it?
Count the weekends.
Yeah, it might be 9.
It's 8 or 9, I believe.
The IRS furloughed nearly half of its staff. They talked about, which is good. They can't tax me. They'll find a way.
Yeah, airline traffic controllers.
Yeah,
are calling in sick. And they say a lot of those people have second jobs to pay the bills, and so they're going to that job because they get some money,
right? And
calling in sick for the other. And so, you think, who cares? But then, my daughter's supposed to fly next week to Virginia, and so it kind of makes you wonder if she's going to have a lot of trouble or not getting there and then getting back. So
you hear people saying, "Well, don't pay those government people; they're not working."
Yeah.
Well, they're not choosing not to be there.
Yeah,
it's a choice of basically 565 people that have made that with the president and the Senate and the House.
Well, the president said today he may not give all these workers their back pay even. I don't know how he can do that, but he said maybe we won't give it to them. So
and that's wrong.
It's wrong. And if you have contracts with a group, like say if they're unionized or whatever, they have an association, well, you need to honor those contracts, and if you
Yes.
don't, well, then you should be liable for that money. So, yeah, I don't understand. It's just like the law doesn't apply to, because Congress makes the laws, but they always make sure that they get paid.
Yes,
and their
they
staff
do.
gets paid. They always take care of themselves first. And as a leader, that's not the way you're supposed to do things. You're supposed to take care of your men first and then take care of yourself last.
Right.
If you're a good cowboy, you take care of your horse before you take care of yourself, right?
Correct.
Because without that horse, you're dead out in the desert.
Yes.
And it's just all turned around. It's a very selfish world.
It is. There's so much going. There's so much going on with the, President Trump. Like him or not, make sure that he controls the news each day. Now a lot of our leaders have goals for next year or years from now. His goal is to control the news for the day.
Yeah. Well, they showed a news conference. The purpose of the news conference was to congratulate Alaska on getting a road built. So congratulations, Alaska, you have a road now. But they showed, and he talked about everything but the road. He's just he pinballs around all these different things, and you just don't get any news from him because he just doesn't stay on topic, I guess. Is one of the big criticisms I would have.
They asked him if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah.
And he said, "Who is that?"
Yeah.
He is.
I never heard of her.
He's very good at avoiding what he doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah, well, his attorney general was that way too. Where anytime that came up at that hearing yesterday, she was all around it, but she never really answered any questions.
Uncle Jim would come out in the classroom if I was treated by a student like that.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that those senators put up with
I
her
am too.
like that.
Yeah, they're all afraid for some reason or another. They don't want to get on the bad side. No job is worth losing all your self-respect for, I don't think.
No.
So.
As far as that is concerned, President Trump has been trying to send the National Guard to Portland and to Chicago. The Oregon governor and the Illinois governor have been battling to keep the National Guard out of both of those cities.
Yeah. Well, it's never been a thing in this country to send federal troops to do civilian work.
No.
I mean, even like in ancient Rome, there was a strict law that generals were not allowed to bring their armies inside the walls of Rome. The thing was that a strong man could not have his army in there to take over the government. They had to keep their army out of the city. For the president to think that he can take all these National Guardsmen and all at once they're become his little private army to go in and do what he wants them to do. In the dressing down they gave all those generals and admirals, a week ago, we talked about that. And I don't know. You hate to think that he has a plan that he's doing because he doesn't look like the kind of guy that has a plan. But you just hope it's not a plan, that it's just a haphazard bunch of crap that he just pulls out of the air. So
The thing that amazes me about him, Dale, and like him or hate him, he follows up on his promises. I mean, whether you like him or not, and whether you like those promises, he follows up on them. Now, he may do it illegally, but he's going to do it.
Yeah.
And that it's sort of drives you crazy. One example is the Big Beautiful Bill that passed. But there's it's not.
Well, yeah, but like all that Doge thing, he was going to reduce all the money and everything, and so you had Musk doing all this, and they got these billions of dollars. But then, if you look at it over time, that all went away. The money was not able to be taken, and it came crumbling back, and then they even spent even more money than they were saving, but they don't talk about it anymore. See, they don't talk about Musk, they don't talk about Doge. That's all in the past. It was big news for a while, but then it just kind of fizzled. And so
they were talking about the guy that runs the Office of Budget and Management. I forget what his name is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they said he was the happiest man in Washington when Elon left because he was doing so many illegal things.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy in budget management plans on court cases. There's always going to be court cases.
Yeah.
Especially at that level. But he said he was the happiest guy because Elon wasn't getting him in more trouble.
Well, sure, yeah. Elon is more than halfway to being the world's first trillionaire now, so he's doing all right, I guess. And I guess his cars are doing better. The stock is up on those cars that were catching on fire there for a while. Yeah. So I don't worry about him. He's doing all right. Yeah, it makes no sense to me why you race to get huge amounts of money like that they can't do you any good.
No,
you can't spend it.
No, to another credit, Trump is trying to end the Ukraine and Russian war. He actually has sort of shifted to the side of Ukraine, realized what Putin is. He's trying to bring peace to the Middle East with
Hamas and those people.
Hamas and Israel. It amazes me how much power in our country that Israel has, Dale. Israel has.
Oh, yeah, since the 1940s.
Yeah.
It's been that way.
I mean, I realize there's a lot of wealth in. The number one donor is Jewish to Trump. She puts a lot of pressure on Trump. I wish I could remember her name.
Goldie Meir.
No.
I know.
Golda.
She's long dead.
Yeah, from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Golda.
I understand what you're saying because I remember, was this in the 60s when they bombed a United States Navy ship and killed a bunch of crewmen out in the Mediterranean, the Israeli Air Force, a Navy ship, and for some reason, and it was all written off as some kind of bad mistake and everything, but there were several, I would say many, that died on that ship from being bombed by the Israeli Air Force. And so they make mistakes, but they always probably goes back 2,000 years to the beginning of the Bible and this sort of thing. So
it goes back. It goes back a long time. The Philistine or Palestine is a punishment to the Israelis. And it goes like this. This is a lesson I always used to teach. The tribes are the Arabic tribes, Palestine and Israel, Blake. And then the religions are Islam and Judaism. Punishment to the Israelis, and that's why they call it Palestine. Because if you look throughout the history of that time, there was never any Palestine, so they named it for the tribe that was there, the Philistine tribe. The biblical Philistine that was defeated by David. So it's rather interesting.
Well, it seemed to me like when the people that Moses was leaving, when they came across into the land of milk and honey, there were already people living there.
Yeah.
And the descendants of those people are the same people that are fighting the Israelis today. I mean, the hatred has been there for all those years because they came in and took the land and tore down the walls of Jericho and all this sort of thing and took the land and kicked out the Babylonian, and then they were dispersed throughout the world, and World War II came along and everybody felt really bad for what they had suffered, and so they tried to give them that ancestral homeland again. But there's already people living there, so there's the problem. And the people living there didn't want to give it up, and so they've been fighting ever since.
40 years in the desert, right?
Yeah.
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. We'll be right back. I have about 19 minutes here to have the network hard out, and so we better get going. But
hey, I found out about Moldova.
What'd you hear about Moldova?
I heard Moldova is a country used to be in the Soviet Union.
Okay.
And it's a small country, just a couple million people, and they have the foreign exchange student in Jesup this year is staying with the Worstman family, and I think she's just here one semester.
Oh,
I believe that's what I heard. But anyway, this program at the library she'll be presenting about her homeland, assumingly her adventures here, what she's learned in the States or whatever. But it's a program that this young lady's putting on, and her name is Zena, I bet.
Zena.
Okay,
yeah.
so
cool.
So that's what that's about, and that's on Wednesday afternoon, starting at 5:00. If you're interested in this, I would call the library and make sure you don't need to make a reservation or something, or for more information. 827-1533. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. So we have multiple things going on in the Steve Brown Arts Center. Don't forget the jam session the 19th, this coming Sunday. It's going to be at the Jesup Public Library from 2 until 3:30. That'll probably be the last one of the year as the holidays are fastly approaching.
A lot of those guys like to trick or treat and stuff. So
Yeah, there you go.
they can't be playing music and eating all that candy.
That's right. That's right. Then the fourth Monday of the month, artists gather at Gedney's. It's so much fun. Dale, Blake, if you guys, skip your new job for a day and tell the boss you're going to go to Gedney's for a cup of coffee and talk to artists, because one of the most enjoyable parts of my job is when I get a chance to sit down with artists. It just makes it so much fun. Speaking of artists, we have Annika Wall in M's Coffee right now. Get over there, check that out.
Nice article, Bulletin Journal, about her stuff. Some pictures of her pictures. Looks really nice. So
Yeah. Annika, at Annika in Homeroom, and just what a talented person, well-spoken. We've had her on the podcast before. She is talented artist. She was athletic. She is driven, and she's a good mother. Just amazes. I don't know where she finds the time. We're showing her at M's Coffee the month of October. November, we're showing Debbie Christians, a Jesup grad. Speaking of artists, the Jesup Public Library has 4 new cases for art in the community room. So one case is for elementary art, elementary and middle school. Another case is for the high school art. Another case is for St. Athanasius. And one case is for the Steve Brown Arts Center.
Whoa.
And so our first artist is going to be Mort Donnelly that we're going to put
Okay.
up. I'm working with the family right now to get some pieces for that. And if you can think of any artists in Jesup, and obviously we have a number of artists in Jesup that we've highlighted, please let us know. But that's upcoming event. The Gedney's event with the artists, the jam session, and I want to talk about one of the most amazing things to me is the Sistine Chapel. The size is so grandiose. A place that I want to go someday when I overcome some things about traveling that far, flying that far again.
go on the Queen Mary and just go on the ship.
I've thought of that. I have a friend that has been trying to convince me to go on a 58-day cruise. And
That's a long cruise.
that's a long time away from home.
Yeah, you get the stomach flu the first day. That's a long time.
Yes, it
before
is.
that. I guess that's a real problem. Did you see that new story?
No.
Yeah, just what the percentages of people that get stomach problems on
Right.
those cruise ships. I know I've been on one cruise, which is a 3-day thing. We were on land for like 10 days up in Alaska. Then we took a 3-day cruise back down to Washington State. But man, they're cleaning. I mean, they were cleaning all the time. They were wiping down banisters. So I think they're just trying really, really hard. But that many people in a close quarters like that, it must be tough. But I know they sure were working at it. This, I think they were like a Norwegian line, and all the workers were from like Indonesia or someplace. But they worked all the time.
I'll go back to your time as a teacher, Dale. How hard was it to prevent illness in your class?
Oh, yeah. You tell you, the best thing you can do is wash your hands with soap and water.
Yeah.
Simple, easy to anybody can do it. And I was in the restroom one day, and it was this kid from a lower grade, but he came in to get ready for lunch. I was there waiting for my kids. So he comes in, turns on the faucet, and he sticks his right hand under and pulls it back as quick as he can, turns on the faucet, puts his left hand under the faucet and pulls it back, wipes them on his jeans, and runs out the door. So he was not going to be late for lunch. But I washed my hands. And so, it's a simple, even with grandkids or whatever, darn well,
Oh.
they don't, they go to the bathroom and they don't wash their hands sometimes when they're younger, especially. Sometimes their mothers smell their hands to see if they could smell the ivory soap
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's really quite simple. But there's a lot of adults that don't take the time to wash their hands with soap and water.
Yeah.
There's a few extra seconds, but they say that's the simplest, easiest thing to do, and it would do more for you than taking a bunch of antibiotics or whatever.
Right.
And also, if you just keep your fingers out of your ears, out of your nose, out of your mouth,
Out of your eyes.
your eyes. Don't touch your face a lot to transfer those germs. So.
Here is 20 interesting facts about the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was talking
No,
about
that's all
skin
right.
disease.
No, I like that.
Okay.
The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel is one of the most famous frescoes in the world. And unsurprisingly, one of Rome's most visited and valued historical sites. Set with the Vatican City and the museum, the Sistine Chapel welcomes around 25,000 a day.
Oh, wow.
It is like 5 million a year.
Yeah. So you don't get to go in there and just loiter then, do
No.
you? They keep you moving. Okay.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
They flock to see Michelangelo's masterpiece and marvel at the feat of the artistry. His cameras are banned. It's one to make sure you don't forget. Here are 20 fascinating facts about the Sistine Chapel to pique your interest, test your trivia knowledge, and give you all the more reason to go and visit the attraction. The Sistine Chapel takes its name from... This is a tough one, Dale.
Okay. That's all I get for
yeah.
a clue? The Sistine Sisters.
Pope Sixtus IV, good try, who commissioned the chapel's construction on the foundations of the original Capella Magna in 1477. Before the work started on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in 1508, it had been decorated with a fresco of blue night sky with golden stars, painted by the Umbrian artist Piero Matteo Amelia. When Michelangelo was commissioned to paint the ceiling of the chapel, he wasn't very pleased, as his main artistic profession was to sculpt. Mm-hmm. He was a sculptor.
Yeah.
It was with much displeasure that he undertook the role,
Yeah.
so he wasn't excited about it.
Yeah.
He had to paint a basketball court above him.
Yeah. And I think the Pope was slow pay, too, if I remember.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Michelangelo hated painting the ceiling so much that in 1509 he even wrote a poem lamenting to his friend Giovanni di Pistoria how he'd grown a goiter from his torture due to the physical strain of the work.
Okay.
Although many believe Michelangelo painted the ceiling lying on his back, he actually constructed his own scaffolding so that he could stand painting up more precision. He had more precision and control this way, standing up.
Just think how your arm would hurt after several hours of that every day.
The whole area of the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel measures about 1/6 of the football field. It's around 12,000 square foot. It's a basketball court is what it is. Don't be fooled into thinking only works of art on show in the Sistine Chapel are those of Michelangelo. You can also see frescoes by Galeandro, Perugino, Rosalie, and Botticelli.
Botticelli's in there. Okay.
Botticelli's in there. It took Michelangelo 4 years to finish
Isn't that amazing?
And the fresco, and he left God until last, wanting to have refined his technique enough to depict him perfectly. Mm-hmm. So do you know what God looks like in that picture?
It just the old man with the white hair and
There
the white
you go.
beard. And,
Yeah. Very good. He's
reaching out his finger to touch. Yeah.
Yep. The God Michelangelo painted as an older man with flowing gray hair inspired centuries of Christians painting God. Mm-hmm. Later, turning it into archetypal representation of typical godly figures around the world. Say that 100 times.
I can't. So.
The Last Judgment wasn't actually painted in the same time as the great ceiling frescoes. In fact, Michelangelo returned 22 years later in 1536.
Oh, see, I had never heard that before.
To begin his masterpiece on the wall above the altar.
Okay.
There have been as many analyses of the Last Judgment and the allergies as representations within the paintings. Some believe the creation of Adam draws many parallels to the anatomy of the human brain, due to the way it's been painted with the stem, frontal lobe, and artery, which is reasonable given Michelangelo's expertise in the human anatomy. Although the ceiling and the frescoes are near perfect, there's one tiny part of the sky on the panel depicting Noah's escape, which is missing due to an explosion at a gunpowder depot in 1797. The plaster fell off. It's hard to believe that Michelangelo completed the entire ceiling without being able to review his piece as a whole, since scaffolding remained up until he was done. This means the first time Michelangelo saw his work was the time it was unveiled.
Okay. I think it'd be hard to get everybody the scale right of the person on this side and the person over here. That would be very difficult, I think.
Among the things that couldn't be misinterpreted were the nudes painted in the frescoes. In 1564, the Council of Trent deemed the images inappropriate, and Daniel de Volterra was ordered to cover them up by painting fig leaves.
Fig leaf, the famous fig leaf. So.
Clothing and other items to hide their indecency. Dang Michelangelo. Yeah. However, some of the drapes were removed to reveal the original painting during the big restoration efforts of the 1980s and 1990s.
Okay.
They brought it back a lot. I can remember that process. The Sistine Chapel is now a historic building of such acclaim that over 5 million people come and visit it each year. That's the population in Norway.
Okay.
Double that of Moldova.
Yeah.
Come election time for a new pope, the College of Cardinals meet at the Sistine Chapel, as they have done since 1492 to submit their votes under oath. The process is so intense that there's even a room nicknamed the Room of Tears. I'd have to go in there.
Yeah.
I'd be a crybaby. To represent the emotion that the lucky chosen candidate will feel after winning the election. If you've exposed shoulders or wearing items of clothing that ends above the knee, you will be refused entry or asked to cover up within the Sistine Chapel. Visitors to the site should respect the code and conduct of dress appropriately. And 20, the most dangerous thing about tourists visiting the Sistine Chapel is the damage not visible to the naked eye. The sweet carbon dioxide and skin flakes of the 5,000 carbon dioxide and skin flakes to the 5,000 visitors a day pose a threat to the restoration of the master. The creation of humidity and temperatures control machine is underway. It's terrible. We got to worry about that. Both you and I went and saw Rob Sand in Independence recently. I saw when he walked in, he had on a bulletproof vest.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if he still had it on as he spoke to us. Yeah. He had one on. That's tragic that he has, a guy running for the Iowa governor.
Yeah. And when there were 3 police officers and 1 deputy there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And he had somebody with him as well.
Oh yeah. At least 2 people I saw had his shirts on that I assumed were part of the entourage. And that's something because there was no security things like going through the door, having a metal detector, any of that kind of thing. But it's sad to say, but you take your life into your hands when you go out in front of the public.
You do, and it's tragic. It's tragic. It's tragic that talk about a nice young man with a good message. He
deserves to be heard.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. We live in, you can call it a republic or democracy, whatever you want to call it. One side calls it a democracy and the other side calls it a republic. We live in that where we should be able to be heard, and you and I are real fortunate, that people listen to us.
Sure. I feel honored that somebody tells me they listen to the podcast. It always makes me feel good. Yeah. I appreciate it.
So we are don't forget, we're looking to do a mural here in Jesup outside, and I started to target places, and I haven't talked to owners of those buildings yet.
You're talking about an outside big wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's more and more. Like Independence has a couple.
Yes,
ones. Old Wine has some really nice ones for the railroad, and so it'd be nice to have one of those.
It would be. The Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network will be right back. This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network, and we're back for the third half of the Steve Brown Arts Center show. Dale loves that when I say that, so I got to say that. He thinks I'm mathematically challenged. It's just homage to some of the old Car Talk show that was on National Public Radio.
I remember that.
The National Public Radio is no longer sponsored by our federal government.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, they're doing fundraising a lot.
They are.
I see they are selling, what's the little artist's name that did the painting? You know what I'm talking about? You know, the guy with the frizzy. No, he had the frizzy hair.
Oh, Bob Ross.
Yeah, they're auctioning off, and they think there's several $1 million there.
Oh, really?
Public Radio is auctioning off some of his paintings.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they're fundraising.
Are you bidding for any of those?
No, as soon as it gets over $10, I just shy away.
I understand. So. Okay. All right. Well, anyhow, we are back, and Dale's got a few things here.
Okay. Well, I love irony, I guess. There are two articles in the Courier. The first article is talking about Quickstar, and as you all know, they're going to quit making pennies. The government, and I think in next year they're not going to make any more in 2026. And Quickstar is looking for something from the government telling them how they're going to handle all this without any pennies, and they're not getting anything, so they've made up their own program. So when a Quickstar runs out of pennies, then they're going to start rounding down. Any cash purchase will round down to the nearest nickel. And it'll just be at the cash register. If your bill is like $1.97, the cash register will just automatically, when they scan it, it's $1. Will just automatically turn it to $1.95.
Okay.
So the cash register does it all, and they're going down to the nearest nickel. And digital and card-based transactions, if it's $2.94. You'll still get $2.94 is what they'll take off.
Yeah.
But cash transactions are going to round down to the nearest nickel.
Carry cash to Quickstar, you guys.
I mean, you're going to change it. You'll save a lot of money. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Ironic. In the same article of the newspaper, there was an article about Casey's.
Yeah.
There's a potential class action lawsuit against Casey's, and it's alleging that it overcharges consumers by advertising in-store discounts that aren't applied to purchase at the cash register. It says discount will be applied when you check out. Well, this lawsuit is saying they're not doing that. They say you get 2 for $4, but it'll charge you $3 for each of them at the cash register, the regular price. You're not getting that discount.
I remember this. I have a story for you.
Okay. So the cash register takes care of it for you.
Yeah,
okay.
It doesn't.
Casey says if each of the chain's 2,500 stores fail to give just one $2.76 discount per day from August 2023 to the present, the damages in the case would total $5,043,900.
Yeah.
That's just one. And this person is filing the lawsuit and trying to go class action with it has 3 different examples of when they went and purchased something thinking the discount was there and did not. So it looks like they were out looking because they had 3 different purchases. So the allegation is that Casey's uses in-store signage to promote discounts, then fails to apply those discounts to a customer's purchases. And so it's ironic that Quickstar, I thought, was using the cash register to give you your money back down to the nickel, but then Casey's in trouble because the cash register didn't do what it was supposed to do.
If that person is listening that runs that class action suit, I have testimony that I know they were doing that.
Yeah.
I was at a Casey's in another town. And they had, if you haven't noticed, I drink Gatorade Zero, and these larger 28 ounce are rather expensive in Casey's and places. Well, they were selling they had it advertised as 3 for $6.
Yeah.
Okay, which is a good deal, $2 a bottle. Well, I got to the cash register, they rang it up, and it was well over $9 with tax and everything. And I said, no, you have it advertised. Oh, no. I said, oh, it must be if you have the rewards. Oh, yes, you must have the rewards.
Yeah.
I'm in your class action suit. Contact me.
Yeah. Well, I always feel bad because when I was a senior in high school, we had a teacher named Claire Craft, and he taught, it was a mandatory class for seniors, and he talked to you about life insurance and the stock market and that sort of thing. And he was real big on if you're at a restaurant you get your bill, you go through and you check to make sure, and it adds up correctly, and then you figure your tip and this sort of thing. And with all bills, and when I'm checking out, I get too busy BSing with the cashier or something, or talking to the guy behind me, and I just, they tell me how much they need. I just pay it. And I never look at the slip or anything. Sometimes you don't even take the slip. Yeah. And so I'm not a good student of Claire Crafts. And so I know these things, I'm sure, happen, but it sounds like, and Casey's, of course, right now is denying it, or they're looking into it and this sort of thing. But from what you've just said now, it sounds like it's a widespread kind of thing, hoping that nobody notices. And so, but I just thought, to me, it was $2.76 per day in all their stores that add up to over $5 million, and you figure it could be a huge, huge lawsuit if they really get into it.
That was done in a local. That was done although it wasn't here in town. Let me say that again. It wasn't done in Jesup. It was done at a store locally.
In the area.
Yeah, in the area. Yeah. That makes sense now.
Yeah. So, well, I think it just shows you need to pay attention, Yeah. And again, when I was 18 years old, $1 was a lot of money for a kid that was 18 years old. Yeah. Because you could do a lot with $1. And now if I get, if somebody rips off $1 or a quarter or whatever, it doesn't mean as much, because that's not really a whole lot of money. But there was a time when that was a lot of money. When someone asked to borrow $1, you thought it over very carefully about whether you get the money back or not. So
1945, not in 1945, 1933, $45,000 then would be $1 million now.
Yeah, there's an app on your phone you can look or in your computer you can look all that up. Because I did that for that Jesup walk. He gave $1 million, or he gave $100,000 or something, be the same as $34 million today.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing.
Oh,
you've heard that where, if in 1955 you took $1 million and put it in a safety deposit box, and then you took it out 25 years later, the spending power of that money, you actually had less than what you started with.
Spend your money, people. Spend your money.
Well, that's my motto. So. I also was going to talk to you about, you remember we had Rex Nielsen talk to us about ghost hunting. I guess it's not what he said, but that's what we took it as.
Right.
And he talked about staying in the old hotel in Strawberry Point, and kind of interesting. Well, there's a Jesup girl, and we both had her in class, very smart, nice young girl, Lauren Renchie, and she leads the Cedar Falls Ghost Tour every year from October 10th to the 1st of November. There's a nice article in the Waterloo Courier from yesterday, I should say that, Tuesday, October 7th.
Okay.
And a big, long article about her ghost tour. And she was interested in this sort of thing, so she walked around downtown Cedar Falls and handed out cards saying, got a ghost story from this area, whatever. And she collected all of these things and put a tour together of the downtown talking about ghosts in that area. And I thought it was interesting because the first time she did it, it took her 4 hours to do the tour. And I could understand that, because it's real easy to do. But now this is her 5th or 6th year she's doing it, and she's got it down to an hour and a half. Yeah. But she also has, a tour with dinner and a tour with what else? All kinds of different things. Going through an old house and having snacks and everything. But she charges for this, and I imagine it says last year the tickets sold out in 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I know in this article it said the dinner, I think they can seat 90 at this dinner, and it's already sold out. But Lauren, just congratulations to her for coming up with an idea. And she works in her folks are big in agriculture.
Yeah, Lisa
mom.
Renchie.
Yeah, Lisa Renchie. And Ben's the dad, Ben and Lisa. And so she works in agribusiness, but this is kind of like a side thing I guess she's doing, but is doing just really, really well. So I hoped someday to go on the tour with her. It'd be nice. Yeah. I guess you can take an individual tour. If you contact her, she will work you in.
Okay.
And so it'd be kind of interesting. But I guess maybe because I do that, Jesup thing. I don't know. But just to see how she has put this all together would be very interesting.
It would be.
And sound like from the article, she's done a fantastic job, and people are lining up to go on her tour. So congratulations to another Jesup grad. Everything she has because of you and me, right?
Okay.
All right. 2 years of school is all it took, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, congratulations to her.
So we're looking at about 8 minutes to network out here, Dale. This is the Steve Brown Arts Center podcast network. And don't forget that we're looking for 12 artists for next year already to exhibit at at M's Coffee and also now at the Jesup Public Library. So please bring artists to me. It's rather unique, Dale. I've a new artist pops up almost every month. It's become a joy to do that.
Well, I think the artists too in the area, there's finally somebody that's interested publicly in what they're doing and wants to meet them and wants to show their art.
Yeah.
And that's what you have done for them. And because before they just kind of all suffered in silence, more or less. They needed somebody to tell the world about them. And that's what you have done. And so they are blessed to have you.
Thank you. And that's what we want to do. Brown was a great advocate of his students. He advocated for his students so hard. In a lot of faculty meetings, Brown stood up for his students, and that's what we want to do. Is we want to stand up for the artists, and honor Steve. Don't forget. If you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center and have an idea for an event, go to the Steve Brown Arts Center.org and follow the link. We are still looking for a place to host an artist if you are interested in that. We are in conversations with a musician from Ireland for next summer, actually, and we will need it. There'll be her and an accompanist. We'll need a place for them to stay probably late June, early July of next year.
For what length of time?
They'll probably be here about a week.
A week? Okay.
Try to get them about 4 events is what we'll probably try to do. But we still want to get a house, and that's our number one goal. And housing is just out of control.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
You just can't.
Yeah.
You can't. But anyhow, if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center, have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call 319-290-0241 and leave a message, or talk to Dale or Blake and we'll get you on. I'm Jim Gillespie with co-host Dale Rueber and producer Blake Tempus. Our thanks as always to Kelly Seahas and Cowork 591. They have been sponsoring us since day one, and we can't.
They still smile at us when we come in.
They do.
They
do. They always have a giggle.
Very
for
nice.
us. Thanks to the audience for bringing these stray dogs into your life every week. And remember, each day is about little victories.